talk about the Batman, or as he likes to call himself, I'm Vengeance. We got to see the new trailer last weekend, and while not everyone is loving it, I think it did a good job of quieting a lot of critics and building excitement for the project, which was something needed as recent reports have both Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton returning to the cowl. No word on Val Kilmer or George Clooney. Now, the hyper-stylized film is only about 25% done, according to director Matt Reeves, and we know that Robert Pattinson has taken on the role of Bruce Wayne / Batman. Andy Serkis is playing Alfred. Jeffrey Wright is going to be Commissioner or Captain Gordon. You never know what his rank's going to be when the movie starts. Zoe Kravitz is going to be Selena Kyle, Catwoman. Colin Farrell is going to be Oswald Cobblepot, or the Penguin. Paul Dano as Edward Norton, the original name of the character, as the Riddler. And also, we're going to have John Turturro as Carmine Falcone and Peter Sarsgaard as D.A. Gil Colson. Now, we've been told that the story is going to be influenced by Jeph, Loeb, and Tim Sale's series of Long Halloween, and we'll focus on the detective side of The Dark Knight, which hasn't really been the focus on a lot of these movies so far. Now, Loeb is known for writing year-long mystery runs on the character that have included, besides The Long Halloween, you've got Dark Victory, which was kind of a sequel to it, and of course, Hush with Jim Lee. Now, there's a certain structure that he seems to use that involves bringing in a lot of Batman's villains, but making the killer somebody completely new. And it does describe all three of the series that he did. Like The Long Halloween, this film is basically looking at a relatively new hero, roughly in his second year of crime fighting. He's got a relationship with Gordon, but the rest of the GCPD are still questioning him. Now, Falcone is a big part of the story in the comic, as a serial killer named Holiday knocks off members of the crime family, but only on, you guessed it, holidays. Now, why they simply didn't go out of town for those days is anybody's guess. If the movie is using The Long Halloween as their guide, though, we're off to a good start, and we should expect to see some other mobsters like Sal Maroni or Carla Vitti, who both play somewhat important roles in the comic. Now, where things get off track, though, has to do with the costume villains. Catwoman has a big part to play, and the Riddler shows up a few times. But we also see the Joker, Poison Ivy, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, Calendar Man, and even Solomon Grundy. Plus, this is pretty much the origin story of Two-Face. None of those characters have been cast, or at least casting hasn't been announced. And the trailer makes it look like the Riddler is the big bad for the film, but come on. This is supposed to be a mystery, and what fun would it be if they told us who the killer was at the beginning in the trailer? Now, with only a quarter of the film having been shot, it's possible that what we see of the Riddler is like a B-plot or even a James Bond-style opening. Batman goes up against the Riddler in the beginning, gets caught, and then is around to play his smaller part in the overall plot. Or they might move him up, in a sense, in taking the place of Calendar Man, Julian Day, who's kind of the Hannibal Lecter of The Long Halloween. So maybe Riddler becomes a dual role, picks up that as well. Now, Penguin, on the other hand, who we know is cast, isn't in it at all, but I guess he could be a rival mob boss, maybe taking the place of Sal Maroni, or even just working into the mob angle. Now, Farrell has said his role is small, but has some really good scenes, so that kind of makes sense. Now, Catwoman is huge, and one of the scenes in the trailer where she's breaking into a safe and Batman confronts her, that looks like it's straight from the comic. So it's possible to cut out the other villains, though, if you wanted to make this more of a grounded film. And it's possible some casting hasn't been announced, just like I said, but I can't see them working without Harvey Dent. Now, there is Gil Colson, and he could absolutely fill the role that Dent plays in the story to a certain point. In that case, then Reeves is really stripping The Long Halloween down to mainly the serial killer mob story. But with the mob story, there was also the changing of Gotham as part of The Long Halloween, which is less and less of the crime families are controlling the city, and more of the freaks, as they call them, are taking over. So if you pull that out, cut down all the characters, pull that out, it does seem to kind of take away something from it. And it also seems like a missed opportunity to set up one of the major villains in the Batman universe. Unless we're being lied to. And Colson's just a fake name, and Sarsgaard is playing Dent. I think the actor would be phenomenal playing the duality of the character. And take a look at the scene in the cathedral. There's a guy with a bomb on his neck and a card, like a greeting card for Batman on his chest. He also has a phone taped to his hand. I'm fairly sure that is Sarsgaard, and we see the thing explode. Now, there's a good chance this kills the guy, but what if Batman is able to partially defuse the bomb, or more likely it's like a Claymore mine where most of the blast goes forward towards Batman, and only some of the blowback hits Sarsgaard, chewing up part of his face. This could be the event that makes him Two-Face, if he is indeed Harvey Dent. This would replace the classic Sal Maroni throwing the acid in his face, which always seemed very dated to me. So I think that's the way they could get around it. And I'm not buying yet that Sarsgaard's not playing Dent. Now, that all aside, the trailers got me excited for the film, and it's pretty clear there's a lot yet to be revealed. And if they're really telling us the Riddler is the main villain, that just seems out of place for the fact that Reeves has said this is a mystery. He likened it to Chinatown. You don't give away the killer in the trailer of a mystery. But there's something else to keep in mind, and this will be the last thing on this. In The Long Halloween, holiday killings were done by two different people. Just something to think about. Hope you all have a good night. I'll see you soon.